Okay, RuneScape. I just started this, I just ended the last video and I heard a weird sound effect in the background, and it turns out it's this shooting star. So this is like this is some new thing I'm not so familiar with, but I prospected it. It said I was the first to find the star, and now it's like 30 mining to mine this layer, so let's try it. I've never done this before. This is some like 2013 plus stuff. This is not in the original game. Oh, I'm gonna get up to I'm gonna cap my mining. What is this, Stardust? Yeah, I don't know how this works really, but cool stuff. Mining a star. So yeah, there's a note here I was gonna mention in my last video because I was talking about random notes I had sitting on my desk. So this one says, hockey is to sports as Starcraft is to video games. So why is that? What makes hockey so similar to Starcraft in that way? Well, I'm using video games here in lieu of the term esports because a lot of people would argue that video games aren't sports in the same way that chess isn't a sport. But anyways, so hockey is to sports. Hockey is the sport with the most difficult championship in the world, the Stanley Cup Championship. And the reason why it's the most difficult is because skating is hard, and that's all. It's skating is so difficult that whatever. It's just my opinion, but like the Stanley Cup, like the playoffs in particular, are so grueling. You have to play a best of 7 in every round, you know? It's not like the Super Bowl at all. Like the Super Bowl is just one game like per matchup. Like the Stanley Cup is insane. By the end of the playoffs, your whole team is like bumps and bruises, like the guys are barely alive. Like it's absolutely insane how difficult it is to win a Stanley Cup. So not only that, but hockey is really complicated. I guess what bothers me about this analogy is that hockey is a team sport and Starcraft is not. So yeah, it's not a perfect analogy, but I do think that Starcraft is the most complete competitive video game ever made so far. And there's other games that are really good too, like really difficult fighting games like Guilty Gear or Super Smash Bros. But those ones don't quite stack up because they're too static. Like it's the same type of gameplay the whole time. You're always in that. Yeah, this guy's talking to me. Okay. You're always. Oh crap! What the hell was I saying? Oh yeah, hockey is Starcraft. Oh yeah, so sports like MMA is not. I guess MMA is much more dynamic than boxing or kickboxing, but it's still not as dynamic as hockey because hockey has like so many different positions, and I guess football is sort of like that too. But the reason why football sucks is because there's too many stoppages of play, and rugby isn't as difficult as the Stanley Cup because there's no skating or whatever. But whatever. Okay, so what's the point here? The point is that Starcraft is so complete in the sense that it tests everything worth testing in a competitive gamer. So there, you have to have some sort of long-term vision of the game. Like, not only can you control like the rate at which you interact with your opponent and how you interact with your opponent, but you can control the direction in which the entire gameplay develops. Like, there's so much, like every game of Smash Bros is unique. Sorry, every game of Starcraft is unique. Melee is unique too, and the cool thing about Melee is that if somebody does some advanced technique like a short hop, neutral air as Marth, you can tell, oh, there's my level 69 mining. You can tell, ooh. Yeah, so that's a terrible analogy. I'll probably never say that again, that hockey is to sports as Starcraft is to video games, because Starcraft is not a team activity. Slayer, still 30. I guess it'll pop. Okay, did I have anything else to say? Hockey is the most difficult championship. Starcraft is the most complete video game. Yeah, that's a difference. There's a difference between having the most difficult championship and being the most complete. Ring Pros kit. Okay. This is so dumb. Look at me go. I'm smashing this rock and I don't even have to click. Oh, +4 mining? That's nice. I'm gonna post all y'all on YouTube. Excuse me. Group my daily. Group my daily. Oh yeah. Okay. What I gotta end up doing is just staying online all the time, so that people just hang. Right now I have only one guy. This guy, Kyle, he, maybe that's my friend Kyle. I don't know who it is, but he just messaged me. He was like, yo man, I saw your videos. So that's pretty cool. Oh, what, it's less mining now? Okay, yeah. You can't just like go out in public and take pictures of people, but you can go out in RuneScape and record footage to post on YouTube, so whatever. These aren't even real people, these are just the sprites, right? This is the true Second Life. No, this is the true Super Sand. No. This is the true metaverse. RuneScape is the metaverse. Who's this guy? Nike Fallen LT. LT stands for laptop. These guys got their prospector. Oh jeez. Oh jeez, man. Look at these guys climbing up here. That's so funny. I wonder if I have any other dumb ideas I can share during this episode. Last episode I mentioned that public school is the foundation of democracy, and that's one of my beliefs. You know, I could still go in. I need to, you know, I guess I'm a little bit biased in the sense that I don't have like a absolute way of demonstrating that. It's just sort of my intuition. Like, I can imagine in theory you could run a democracy without having public school, but in practice, over multiple generations, I don't think it would sustain itself. Like, we have to create a society that can prevail through multiple generations and also defend itself against other societies without causing trouble. Did you hear about the Congolese War? That was pretty recent, I think, like a few decades ago, maybe. But in the West, it wasn't really talked about. Like, we know about how Russia invaded Ukraine, but that's only because we give a shit about Ukraine. Like, the countries that we're from as, you know, like Western, like people who are West swag. I like to think about Western philosophy because that's what helps you think straight. You know, all the bullshit they talk about, like ethics, logic, these things are really important to be able to talk about. And so what Western philosophy does is it gives you a standardized language in which to talk to people, so you can get into some very, very precise communication about ideas, and that is one of the benefits of philosophy. Western philosophy in particular is very much like that, about pinning down things in an absolute way, in a way that is shareable and speakable, whereas Eastern philosophy is more about like pre-language experience, like your experience of the present moment, and like Buddhism is one of the most prevalent examples, but there's a lot of interesting spirituality in Hinduism as well. And I don't mean to say that Western philosophy is spiritual, but I would say Eastern philosophy leans more towards spirituality than Western philosophy, because Western philosophy is so linear. Like oftentimes there's only one way. Like it's designed so that you can only interpret it a single way. There's no it's non-poetic. Like it's very formalized. Technical writing. Is technical writing a descendant of Western philosophy? No. But Western philosophy, what makes it what it is what you use that language to talk about. And so philosophers will come up with new language, new words, in order to talk about things that they're discovering. So yeah, a big part of philosophy, in my understanding, is that you have to define your terms and make sure you're talking about the same thing in order to avoid confusion. Because if you go through a whole conversation with slightly different definitions of what the words mean, then you're not going to be able to communicate at all. Like, it just doesn't work. You have to know exactly what is going on. And so I'm interested in that. You know, I feel like computer science is sort of descended from this this idea, like Western philosophy, the idea that we can share ideas, like memes. You know, we can create things that are discrete. We can create things that are that create the same impression for everybody, and so that is like a type of cool power. Some people think that humans automatically get to think straight, but that's not true at all. Like, I think it's something that we've built on, that we're lucky it's worked so well that we're able to think straight using our system of language that we have. And I don't mean to say that people in the West are better at thinking straight than people in other parts of the world, but I think that there's, like, during the colonial era, a lot of that stuff was spread around. Like, people didn't really have an idea about social. Actually, I don't know. I shouldn't speak too much because I really don't know what I'm talking about. It's okay for me to speak absolutely, using absolute language, because I'm not representing myself as a person on this channel. That this is just my RuneScape character, so I can say whatever I want. I could say that poop like smells delicious and I like to eat it, and even though that's not true. But I could say it seriously, you know. I could say that it's actually 100% true that frozen bun's okay. Me likes to eat poop, because that's the character I'm playing right now. Check me out, I'm breaking the fourth wall. Yeah, I was talking about something else earlier, like philosophy. Oh yeah, so Western philosophy, that's like colonial era, like, you know, the Enlightenment area. Okay, here's the thing. Here's what's so great about democracy, okay? So, say somebody tries to mess with me, right? Like, somebody just, like, breaks down the door or whatever. I can call the cops, and then I can also use the courts. Like, I'm treated like royalty. Like, in Canada, I have courts I can use. You know, I've got so much recourse. Like, I'm totally protected. And, you know, maybe that's just because of the history of the country and the type of person that I am, but I'd like to think that democracy is predicated on that idea that individual people are valuable, and that if somebody gets transgressed upon, then we just protect them no matter who they are, unless they're like, yeah, I guess some people like the idea of punishment, like once you end up in prison, then we don't really care as much. Use your empirical prowess to discover the locations. Who's this guy? Same guy. Oh, did you know that Animals as Leaders came out with a new album? It's called something, I forget what it's called, but there's a great song on there called Red Miso. Let me type it out so you know what I'm saying. 10 mining. Okay. Am I back on my bullshit? I don't know. I was gonna go help somebody with their computer today, but I forgot. What's this episode about? This is just about mining the star. Like, how long does this take? How long has it been? It's been 15 minutes! This is insane. I don't have anything to talk about. Ah, terrible. Come on, guys. Group Ironman Daily. Gotta send some emojis in this text. Oh yeah, this is weird. If I stop talking, then y'all can hear it. Like, I'm not trying to play the rests here, okay? I just forget what the hell's going on. Whew, gotta get the voice flowing, and then... oh, God, cough. Okay, excuse me. Excuse me. But yeah, if if I have some momentum in the way I'm using my voice, then it's easier to hold the sound, take control of the airwaves, like it's a radio show. In the very early episodes of this series, I tried running it like a radio show. I would go on YouTube and I would play music in the background, but then I got blocked. YouTube would mute the tracks because they're like copyrighted. You can't just re-upload them. But that's weird because, yeah, I guess it makes sense. Yeah, whatever. Should make my own music. Buy some music. I should just find some local artists, play their music. Yeah, I could do a local radio show. But then people would know where I live. Gotta move to another city to find a local music scene and then just stay in touch and post all their music on this show. Okay, what kind of music is the best? Like, what's the best genre? It's hard to say. But I think jazz is the best because it's because it is well, generally it's the best because it has the best of all of the other genres except composition. Like, if you want to get like a little bit better, well, if you want composition, you find a new genre. But otherwise, like, you can get pretty much anything you want in jazz. Plus, I like the whole spirit of it, like the idea of it's going against the standard, like playing out of key, experimental music. Jazz is a symbol of experimental music, and so that's why it's so cool. Jazz is like one of the original experimental genres. Jazz, 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 music. But yeah, if you want fast music, jazz. If you want slow music, jazz. If you want emotional music, jazz. You want instrumental music, jazz. You want vocals, jazz. You want no vocals. I mean, you want like really technically difficult music, jazz. You want groovy music, jazz. Smooth, easy listening, jazz. Hard listening, jazz. Jazz is like all of music, but just in one genre. Like, jazz is the best genre, and a lot of other genres are good, like classic rock, blues. People say blues is good, but blues is too sad all the time. Classical is good, but there's no improv. I mean, there's no improvisation, and plus, the thing about jazz is that you start writing the song after you're already playing your instrument. Like, you don't ever write it down. It's just written into your into your muscle memory of how you play the instrument, and so jazz musicians therefore are able to enter a new level of mastery that musicians in other genres don't have, because musicians in other genres play compositions, and with a composition you're never going to access the same type of personal flavor that you get from a jazz musician. Jazz is reflected in a lot of hardcore genres nowadays, like sometimes in metal music or punk rock music. Like there's a sort of a betrayal of conventional music wisdom in order to experiment, like experimental music. What's the original experimental music? I guess it's hard to say. There's music has started up in so many different pockets of the world, but I like to think of like T=0 as when classical music was introduced to North America. Maybe I'm just dumb. Maybe like T=0 is when the US was colonized. No, that's not right. But I feel like so many of our genres come from classical, ultimately. Like jazz is a betrayal of classical, and then so is blues, and then rock is a variation on jazz, and then heavy metal is a variation on rock, and there's so many different genres of rock. Oh, okay, thanks for watching this episode of Group Ironman Daily. I didn't click the screen for long enough. So we can play this menu music as I slowly wind down.